Hi, welcome to the Sunday preview for this Feast of Christ the King. This is the last Sunday of Ordinary Time in the Church's year. Next week we start with Advent. But every year the Church celebrates this Feast of Christ the King as the universal King, the universal Judge, and the entire world is his kingdom. And so let's read from St. Luke this week. The rulers sneered at Jesus and said, "He saved others. Let him save himself if he is the chosen one, the Christ of God." Even the soldiers jeered at him. And they approached to offer him wine, and they called out, "If you are the king of the Jews, save yourself." Above him there was an inscription that read, "This is the King of the Jews." Now one of the criminals hanging there reviled Jesus, saying, "Are you not the Christ? Save yourself and us." The other, however, rebuking him, said in reply, "Have you no fear of God? You are subject to the same condemnation. And indeed, we have been condemned justly, for the sentence we receive corresponds to our crimes. But this man has done nothing criminal." Then he said, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." He replied to him, "Amen, I say to you, today you will be with me in paradise." The Gospel of the Lord. St. Luke's Gospel presents Jesus as king on the cross, crowned with thorns, and his throne is actually the cross, not a golden throne. But it's precisely through his suffering and death that he's the king, and he's worthy of being the judge. And even though people jeer and don't accept his kingship, nonetheless, God will raise him up. The two thieves are really crucial to the story. Both good and bad suffer on the cross for the things they've done wrong. But one will look up and acknowledge Jesus. One will call out in hope. One defends Jesus. And Jesus tells him at the 11th hour that he'll enter into paradise with him. And I think that's so significant because Jesus makes his first judgment there on the cross. The one who shows faith, the one who reaches out, the one who admits his sin and asks for mercy. And in one way or another, that's what we're all about in the ministry, in the mission of the church, is that we're calling out to people to acknowledge what they've done wrong and ask for mercy. And so that they can hear those words of Jesus as well. Today you'll be with me in paradise. And this is where Jesus shows his kingship, that he reaches out to all who acknowledge their fault with the mercy of God the Father and the hope of eternal happiness. So on the last Sunday of the year, let's remember that our job is to invite people back to acknowledge that Christ is King and that he's the merciful King, and that mercy endures forever.